Hi, Democrats. Today is Monday, May 1st, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Monday. There are all kinds of things going on in our state today. One, our governor is picking a fight with OETA. He's picking a fight with Big Bird and kangaroos. And really, the answer is he's mad that he's not getting his way. He's told the state Senate that he's not going to pass any of their bills until he gets his voucher scheme through. And so OETA happens to be a victim of that. He keeps saying that he keeps making up reasons. First, it was because he didn't think that they'd be around for a while, or they've been around my entire life. Then it was, we shouldn't pay for it. And then it was, they're over-sexualizing children. Because that's what you think of when you think of PBS, is that they're over-sexualizing children. The bottom line is that our governor is holding his breath until he gets his way. He's holding just the plain machinations of our state hostage until he gets what he wants. And what he wants is to dismantle public education. Don't be fooled by all of this other stuff. Don't be fooled by their claims that diversity, equity, and inclusion are divisive, or that Big Bird isn't going to survive. Don't be fooled, because you get to talking about how PBS isn't going to last, and we're not talking about dismantling public education. You talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and the importance of it, and it is very important. We're not talking about the dismantling of public education, because that's what this really is. It is the dismantling of public education, and we're planning to give coupons to people who can afford private schools, and leaving the rest of our students in leftover schools. And I'm calling them leftover, not to disparage our educators, but because they will be left with what is left of our funding, our education funding. It will not be enough to sustain a school, and it will be a leftover school. They won't have updated books. They won't have as many teachers as they need. It will be large classrooms, because they are taking the funding out to let certain kids, particular kids, go to private schools. We can't lose sight of that's what they're trying to do, dismantle public education. And we have to talk about the thing. And it's Monday, speaking of the thing. And I have to talk about the fact that there was a shooting in Oklahoma City this weekend at a nightclub in Western Oklahoma City, where 3 people were shot. I believe 1 died. We are constantly having to hear the news. We're constantly having to deal with the fact that we are a Second Amendment sanctuary state where people think that we're the wild, wild west. Another thing that we can't lose sight of. There are so many things that we have to stay vigilant of, because they're trying to take our state back into the dark ages, and we can't let them. We have to stay aware, awake, and focused. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to bring on Scott Hamilton to talk to you about where he is today. It's kind of a big deal. I'll let him talk about it.
Hi, Alicia. I can't hear you, and that's actually a good thing, because right now there are over 60 people here in Enid protesting the swearing in of a white supremacist. They did a great job in fighting his election. Unfortunately, he was elected. The swearing in is tonight. Now, I was most shocked at standing out here where this is going to be taking place, and I'm standing in front of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Municipal Complex. And it's just everything that Dr. King stood against in terms of swearing in a neo-Nazi white supremacist. And I am so impressed with the people of Enid, because, like I said, there are over 60 people here now. People are just now getting off work, and there's so many young people. I mean, probably the youngest one I see is probably 10, and a wide range of people, but they are concerned about their town. This is a big blight on a city that has a big Air Force base here, They have a strong community. And sadly, this is what we're here today to protest.
Scott, can you tell us, is there any police presence? Whoa.
Yes, there's a very large police presence today, and I'm grateful for that. Um, they're all out here with their vests and their guns, but I know it's to keep peace. I'm not worried about them. Alicia, if I could, I just want to bring on Nancy Presnell for a moment. Nancy is the chair of Garfield County Democrats, and she is largely responsible for making this happen today. So I just wanted to bring her on to say hello and give her a big shout out for all the work that she's doing to make Enid a good place to live.
Hi, Alicia. I got to give credit to Father James Neal. Yeah, he's the guy here.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Nancy.
Thank
We'll
you.
be with you tonight. Because I can't hear you, Alicia, I'm sorry. I really can't answer any questions right now. But I hope that people will tune in to the Hamilton Report at 6:30 tonight, when we will have a full update, as well as interviews from some of the people whose lives are literally being impacted by the election of a white supremacist here in Enid.
Thanks for being there, Scott. So the executive director, Scott Hamilton, is in Enid today. He kept referring to the white supremacist that was sworn in there in Enid. I believe it was on the city council. There's a man, his first name is Judd. I don't remember his last name right now, that was sworn, that ran. And the entire time that he was running, Nancy Presnell, the chair of Garfield County, and the other folks in Garfield County Democrats were working together to try to raise the awareness of who this man was. This particular person who's about to be sworn in was the Oklahoma coordinator of the folks that were at the Charlottesville riot, the Jews will not replace us riot. He was the guy who was responsible for gathering the folks from Oklahoma and getting them. And then once they were there, organizing them. He was the guy who was walking with the Oklahoma flag. That is who Enid elected to their city council. It's not just someone who doesn't agree with us. It's not just someone who has different views. It's a full-on white supremacist that is now serving in the city council of Enid, because even though it was a nonpartisan office that he was running for, I saw his signs. His signs all made it very clear that he was a Republican in a district that votes straight party no matter who the person is. They were aware because Nancy and crew made it very, very apparent, very clear who this man was. And they called him out. They showed up at events. They showed up where he was. And he never denied it. He never said he changed. He never said anything different than, you guys are being mean to me. Be who you are. If that's who you are, if you are a white supremacist and you're not willing to deny it, you're not willing to change, go ahead and own that you're a white supremacist. And that's who they elected in Enid. And the folks in Enid are not letting it go silently. They are protesting. They're using their voices. And that's what we have to do all over the state. All over the state, we need to stand up when we see a wrong, stand up, then do and say something. So I'm grateful for the Democrats of Garfield County and the Judd Blevins is his name. Thank you, Angela. Judd Blevins is his name. We need to stand up against white supremacy in every space that we see it. Stand up against bigotry in every space that we see it. Being quiet about it just allows for it to grow and fester and spread. And so now we have a guy who was at the Charlottesville riot, who was the Oklahoma coordinator for the Charlottesville riot, now serving in a municipal office. Municipal offices are the training ground for state houses and state senates. We can't let this stand. We have to run everywhere. We have to put up opposition to all of these kinds of campaigns. And so though they couldn't find someone to run in Garfield County against this guy, they're at least letting their voices be heard. And that's what we have to do going forward. I had other things I want to talk about, but that's so depressing. I'm going to end it there. Thank you so very much for joining me. And I will be back here tomorrow at 4:15. But please tune in to the Hamilton Report this evening at 6:30. Scott will still be in Enid, and he'll be talking to some of the protesters and talking about some of the things that they've done along the way to make their voices heard. Thanks for joining me. Have a nice evening.